level annotating. Now, by now you've already watched Annotate That, where we went over the basic steps of annotating. Now it's time to take our annotating to the next level. So let's recap. What is annotation? Well, if you remember, annotation is how you interact with the text. So what is next level or second level annotating? Well, it's detailed annotating. It's more focused, it's very specific, and it's more efficient. It maximizes your time so that you're not wasting time on figuring out what to look for. You know exactly what to look for as you're reading. So now, there's basically 4 steps in second level annotating, and it all starts with the chunk. So what is the chunk? The chunk is where you take a text and break it down into bite-sized pieces. Bite-sized pieces that are easier to eat, or in this case of reading, easier to comprehend or understand for you. So, VIP number 1, chunks are easier to digest than trying to read an entire section. If you focus on one chunk at a time, it'll make the bigger piece a lot easier to digest or read. So how do we chunk? 3 steps in chunking. First, you want to figure out the number of sections. Typically, a section is a paragraph. Then you want to number the sections. And lastly, you want to chunk the sections together. So let's look at the example. As you can see, I have an example of a text. I have paragraphs. I've numbered the paragraphs. And then I chunk them together, no more than 2 or 3. So VIP number 2, sections equal paragraphs. VIP number 3, don't chunk no more than 3 sections. So you may be asking, well, how do I know what to chunk? You chunk what you feel is good. If you think you can handle 3 paragraphs at a time, then chunk 3 paragraphs. If you have 2 short paragraphs, maybe chunk them together. Or if you have 3 short paragraphs, chunk them together. If you have 1 big, long paragraph, leave that one by itself. The next thing we have is detailed margins. That's step 2. Detailed margins is all dealing with the left side of the text and the right side of the text. Now, on the left side of the text, depending on what type of text you're reading, you're going to have different things that you're doing. Because the left side of the text is all about what is the text saying. What's the text telling us? The right side margin is what is the text doing to you. So for informational text on the left side, you're going to focus on the idea, the central or main idea. You want to identify info that supports the main idea. You want to identify persuasive techniques and ID word impact and choice. On the right side of an informational text, you want to leave a tip, which I like to call thought, inference, or prediction. Now, in a literature or fiction type of writing, on the left margin, you want to identify conflict, character motive. You want to identify the shift in the plot, identify the theme, and still focusing on word impact, word meaning, and word choice. Lastly, in poetry, you want to focus on identifying the theme in the left margin, along with imagery, figurative language like similes, metaphors, onomatopoeias. Identify the word impact and choice, and then identify the word meaning, literal or underlined. The third step is all about symbols. So we use these symbols as codes. Remember I told you to kind of create your own system? Well, in second level annotation, you have a specific system. You might have an exclamation point for something that surprised you, something that you liked. Plus or minus for when you agree and disagree with things. A question mark for something you think would make a good question to discuss when we discuss it in class. Double question mark for something that really confused you or you didn't understand or you really don't know what it means even after you've read it. A W can be used for things that make you wonder, things that make you go, AG is for argument. When you recognize the author's argument, go ahead and put an AG by it. SP stands for support. When you see where the author has ideas that are supporting their argument, put an SP there. PA, ET, and log is for pathos, ethos, and logos. When you see those methods of persuasion, you want to make sure that you identify them. And the fourth step is the close read. So, typically with a good text, when you close read, you're going to read it at least twice. But the first time you're going to read it, you're going to do what I like to call word skim.
Just a reminder of the mandatory safety training today. Once again, all teachers and staff are required to attend this training. Also, make sure that you bring a pencil and something to write on. Once again, a reminder that all staff and teachers are required to attend the safety training today in the auditorium. Make sure you bring something to write with and to write on. Thank you.
So, the word skim. That's where you're going through the passage. You're not reading, you're just skimming it, where you're looking for words that you don't know or you don't understand. And then you put a underline or you put a box around it. The next thing you're going to do is the symbol read. That's where you're just reading it just for you, just for pleasure. This is where your symbols come into play. And the last thing is the what I missed read. This is where you're doing your left margin and your right margin, where you're looking for what the text is saying and put it on the left, and what the text is doing and put it on the right. Any further questions that you need, please refer to your second level annotating cheat sheet. Happy annotating.